Welcome to the Am I Hunting Podcast. In this episode, we're talking about making the most of your wild game with a wild game recipe. All right, welcome to the Am I Hunting Podcast. Thank you for listening as always. So, we are in January 2023. Deer season is over. The plan was to get right after going ice fishing, but we've had some squirrely weather, to say the least, where we've gotten some warm temperatures and rain that's been cut down on the ice. So postponing the ice fishing for now. Again, trying my hand at doing some late small game hunting here in the next couple weeks as well. But really, for this episode, I want to go into it a little bit with what I've been doing this year, trying to take the next step of utilizing my venison and parts of a deer to make the most of it, as part of the title says. I've started, basically out of not having enough money, started processing my own deer at home. And doing that over the course of the years, I've been being able to get better and better at it. Being able to do better cuts, being more efficient with it. So I've expanded a little bit more of expanding my recipes, doing some specialty stuff with it. A couple years ago, I made some brats and some breakfast sausage links. They turned out all right, but certainly had room for improvement. This year, I did up my first batch of homemade summer sausage. Certainly, wasn't holding back on it. I ended up doing two 15-pound batches, and honestly, at this point, I think I didn't make enough. It turned out really well. I will say that the grain's a little fine, so it almost has the consistency of some bologna, but flavor's really good. So maybe next time not grind it as fine as I did. Otherwise, it turned out really well. And then also, I've been saving some of the bones from the deer I processed, and the idea was eventually to be able to make some bone stock or some bone broth to better utilize that as well. So, end up processing those, and then also got into doing some canned venison. Basically just have that as an option to kind of protect the investment of harvesting deer and harvesting your own meat. If for whatever reason the freezer went down, I wanted to have at least some venison as backup that wouldn't go bad potentially. So joining me on this episode is my wife Kim, who basically after processing, doing the canned venison and the stock, we came up with the idea of making some pho. She's made pho before, with store-bought items, and we thought this would be a really good way to capitalize on the freshly made stock, as well as try that canned venison for the first time. So we're going to go into basically the process I went through to do the canned venison and the stock, and then dive into the recipe of the pho. And while recording, we were actually enjoying that dinner. So there are some times where you might hear some slurping or whatnot. I know it wasn't very professional or polite to do it that way, but I figured it'd be a fun way to talk about the dinner while we're eating it when it's fresh in our minds. So without further ado, let's get into the episode.
Taste and see how it is. Unless you already had some.
No, I haven't.
All right.
Well, go ahead. And then I'll see if you need the sriracha.
I
know that I'm going to need a little bit at least.
Yeah? I think I need a fork instead.
No.
No?
No. Here's the sriracha. that bad? Man.
When I slurped. Trying to kill myself.
So, since I know that you're already recording, this should be like blooper.
Blooper.
Yeah. Of you dying.
Oh. Well, at least there's video evidence of what happened.
Right? What the heck? I thought I turned it on.
Oh, man. So unprofessional.
I turned it on Do Not Disturb.
So, honestly, Kira asked me, too, what we're going to title this episode. I have no idea. Other than that, I don't even want to stop eating.
Then hurry it up. Then get after it. That way you can get back to eating.
All right. So it's basically this episode, I want to sit down and basically, I mean, it's been the past, 2 days working on just processing more different, or I guess different things with the deer. So I guess we can go back to this year, tried my hand at canning some venison, which having talked with people that have done it and videos I watch, it's much easier than you would think.
Well, after you get a actual... Sorry. I know. I didn't want to slurp into the microphone. After you actually got a pressure cooker, because you didn't want to use my Instant Pot.
Right? Yeah, because the issue with the Instant Pot is that you can't guarantee the temperature or the pressure within the Instant Pot, especially with dealing with venison meat, which falls under the category of a low pH. Is that you really have to be very careful about that, otherwise you could poison yourself.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I got the pressure cooker as part of a Christmas gift, and yeah, we picked up some cans and finished processing the dough that I got on Lake Michigan. And
Is that what the canned meat was from the dough?
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Yep. So, and then yeah, I mean, probably the only really stressful part is making sure that you have everything sterile starting. So making sure that you got your cans, giving them a water bath or treating them however you can treat them. I mean, you've got you can do a water bath with them, steaming them. You can bake them.
I know when I did pickles to sterilize the jars, I put them in the dishwasher on the sanitized setting.
Oh, using technology for you, huh?
I am.
Yeah, and then this cubed up the meat, packed it in, and you really don't even have to pack it, where it's airtight or anything like that. Throw your lid on, and basically with the pressure cooker that we got, it was.
Excuse me.
It was 11 pounds of pressure for 75 minutes.
And it does not taste like venison at all.
It basically turned out almost like it cooks like a roast, essentially.
Right.
The chunks there. And I did throw in a half teaspoon of salt and then a couple of turns of the pepper grinder. So it was a little peppery because we tried some before we added it to tonight's dinner. But yeah, I mean, we end up doing 8 quarts, and I mean, honestly, inside the jar, it looks like something that's been left for too long. It's got an interesting coloration to it. It's like a brownish, like a brownish red or coppery look to it, and definitely has a few chunks of bits floating around in it. It's in liquid, which you don't add any liquid to to it before you.
You didn't? It was just straight meat?
It's straight meat. All this juice is what came out of the meat when cooking.
Oh. All right then.
Yeah.
I don't think I would have.
I mean, maybe some of the water from the steam before it seals got into it. I don't know. But this is all, yeah, I didn't add any water or anything to it. It was just meat in there. And it's,
It's good.
yep.
Kira said it's the best meat that she's had in my homemade pho.
It was awesome. Yeah, I love it. But yeah, I mean, a new technique because, everyone always throws everything in the freezer, but it was just another way to store and preserve the venison meat.
Well, yeah, considering you don't have any more freezer space,
Right?
had to figure out a whole nother way of processing and being able to preserve, and I don't know, and with the snowstorm we had, I mean, that would be ideal, if we lost power. I mean, thankfully, we're gas stove.
Right. Yeah, no, I mean that's part of the reason why I was so intrigued or so eager to want to be able to learn how to do this or try it because yeah, I mean it's wintertime is not as big of a threat, but summertime if you lose power, if your freezer dies, especially if you don't catch it right away, I mean you just lost your entire year's worth of harvest and meat.
We might need to ask the girls to bring forks.
I
now.
told you we needed forks. You want to holler up to them?
Sure.
All right. Oh no, this is gonna be like a intermission. 8 minutes in. I'm gonna eat some more while you're gone.
I guess put some random music to it.
Yeah, right. Some elevator music. Oh my gosh. Yeah. What you got? Onions sticking out of yours. Thank you. Yeah, I know a spoon just doesn't cut it.
All right.
All right.
Can you hear me good?
Yeah.
Much better?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah. So got the canned venison, and I don't know. Again, I was putting it off for so long because I was so worried that I would screw it up, and
It's my brother. Proceed. I don't even know where you're at with talking
No
other
idea
than
either.
processing deer and
yep. Yeah, I think we were talking about the idea of having other ways to preserve the meat outside of the freezer for that oh crap moment when if you lose a freezer or power or something like that you still have options. And I mean especially too, I mean that's how for a very long time meat was preserved. Was with canning and jarring, and so very old technique, and it's good to know that process now.
Yep.
So, and it's a fantastic way because it's already cooked. So all we did was heat it up with tonight's dinner, and you don't have to wait for it to thaw. So it's much quicker to deal with than trying to pull some out of the freezer, even cubed venison. And then, I mean, it's like we said, super tender. Falls apart like you would if you're pulling out like a roast or something like that. It's cooking all day long. So definitely something we'll be doing in the future too for following years of having that available and being able to use because my understanding is good for about 2 years, I believe, is what I've read, and kind of what the consensus is that it could stay good for. So
it will not last 2 years in our house.
no, I might make 3 months, maybe 4.
How many jars did you do?
8.
Yeah, 3 months maybe.
Yeah. So that was a new experience, and I'm happy that it turned out. And again, was not nearly as difficult or complicated as I thought it would be. So, and then the next part of the process that we just worked on, or I worked on over the, well, you helped, was making our own stock. So I'd been saving bones probably, well, at least from a couple years now, 4 or 5 deer, mainly the femurs of most of the deer, and wanted to make our own little bone stock. And
Yeah, basically all you did was you consulted me, but I did insert myself a couple times.
you did, and I had to get after you a little bit. This was what I wanted to work on.
Yeah.
Because you were slowly taking over, or quickly taking over.
Well, I mean, how often do I make stock? I make stock quite a bit. When I make soups, I'll go for using more of the homemade stock than anything.
Yeah, but this was the first of doing bone stock, wasn't it? We've never done it.
I have never. Well, I have never, and I know that you definitely haven't.
Mm-hmm.
But I've done chicken broth with from the bones, but I didn't render it down like you rendered it down to get, some of that marrowy goodness from the femurs.
Yep. Yeah. So we took the pot, and I had put initially 4 femurs. I swear, trying to do a podcast with you is the ones that always have the most interruptions.
Well, the reason why is because normally when you're recording other podcasts, I'm holding down the fort. That way you don't get interrupted.
No, last time we did one, how many phone calls did you get? 2? I know one was from my sister.
I think they were both from your sister.
Mm-hmm. All right.
Okay, go ahead.
All right. So yeah, we had like I said, about 5 chunks of femur in there. Plus I threw in some shoulder blade, which I'm so disappointed. I didn't think about it before. I was listening to the Hunter Board podcast, and they were talking about doing stock and whatnot.
Mm-hmm.
And they were talking about actually saving the bones from lower, like down to the ankle. So instead of taking it from where you get the shank, and then the femur, go all the way down to the ankle. You could skin that out, and there's a ton of connective tissue down there.
Right.
So
Well, there's always next year.
there's always next year. So yeah, yeah. So at least, especially on the front legs, we'll be cutting them down to that point. Hopefully Calvin doesn't need any more deer legs for training.
Well, I mean, with the new up-and-coming puppy,
Yeah.
he might.
Did they name it Scout?
Yeah, Scout.
Scout. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. So, and then what else? It was. So again, this is the point where you kind of took over. What kind of stock did you pour in the bottom?
Vegetable, because I didn't have a whole lot of vegetables saved up.
So okay.
Normally, I will take a couple jars and save vegetables, like peels and...
Well, I mean, you still did. I mean, you still put what? You put some potato in there, potato peels, carrot, onion,
celery,
minced garlic, and then we filled it up over the bones to water. Cooked it for 3 hours, and then we called it a night. So took it off the heat, let it cool a bit, threw it outside out on the deck, and then when I got up this morning, skimmed some of the fat off of it, and then threw it back on the stove and let it cook for let it cook for another 4 hours.
Mm-hmm.
And then from there, took some of the bones out and then added another 2 sets of femurs. Let it cook for, 2 hours?
Yeah, at this point, I already checked out as far as what you were doing.
Yep.
You just kind of, do you think I should do this? And it was more or less for me, sure, why not?
Yeah. Because initially when we tried it last night, which I think it was probably because of all the fat that was liquefied on the top, it tasted like it tasted like just the water that you would boil meat in.
Yep.
It was meat water.
Yep, and exactly what I called it last night.
Yep. But yeah, again, I think it was probably the fat that was on top that made it have that flavor. Because as soon as I skimmed the fat off and warmed it back up, it didn't taste like it anymore. So then, I threw those extra femurs in, let it cook down for, like I said, another 2 hours, and then pulled off the heat again, threw it back outside to cool, and came back from shopping, and of course I had to cool it down more. It was still really warm.
Well, it's
40 out.
it's like spring now after the weather or Mother Nature tried to kill us.
Yeah, it's trying to make up for it. But yeah, cooled it down some more. Spooned out the solidified fat on top, and then, well, what time did we decide that we were going to be doing pho tonight? Was it last night we decided that, or was it this morning?
I think it was last night because I think I started writing down what I needed
Yeah.
on the board last night.
Yeah, so the whole master plan was to use the freshly canned venison and the freshly made broth or stock, however you want to
Well,
say
yeah,
it.
because originally you wanted to do shanks for tonight.
Yep. Yeah, but we decided that we were going to do a kind of work with these fresh ingredients and came up with a fantastic dinner. So, with that being said, you get to explain how you put it all together with the pho. And I'm going to eat some.
All right. Enjoy, because I've been wanting to eat it, but trying to be polite and not slurp. So you at least can probably now pull your microphone a little bit away from your mouth and
They're going to be able to hear me eat. I'm going to be extremely unprofessional and impolite by eating in front of all the viewers and then people listening.
So pho is the easiest thing that you could probably make. I was introduced to it because one of my favorite, I guess I would say they're a mix between Vietnamese and Thai. Not you, but
Mm-hmm.
But no, I've really started to, figure out ways to make our own pho
Yep.
with the broth. Traditional pho is made with bone broth, and they cook it down. Oh gosh, I want to say it's a very lengthy process to make their base, really.
Yeah. Well, I mean, even with the ones that we did, I mean, even the bones that I pulled out of, there was still some connective tissue. I mean, the bones were starting to get dried out a little bit, but they probably could have gone another full day.
Yeah.
So.
I mean, it made fantastic base for the pho.
Yeah, it was good. Good first time through.
But because we were using the venison, and the venison acts more like a beef, I needed it to have a little bit more of that beef flavor. So with the bone broth that you made, or the stock,
I don't know. I don't know which one you want to call it.
right? I did add some beef broth to it.
Well, let's go into that. What all did you add to the broth?
Okay, so to your broth or to...
The whole
Okay.
mixture.
So I'll just roll down on what all ingredients.
Mhm.
So your stock, so the venison stock, beef broth, star anise, so not anise seed, because the anise seed would overpower it. So just one star anise.
And what is? I don't even know what that is. So
The star, so anise has like a licoricey like taste and smell.
so it's like kind of sweet.
Ish,
Okay.
yeah.
All right.
I sweat onion and minced garlic. I was going to use my ginger cubes that was fresh ginger, but it was completely frozen, so I had to use ground ginger. So you essentially just sweat the onions and all of that in the pan and then put it into that broth. Oh, so
And sweating it, you're basically kind of cooking it down a little
a
bit.
little bit until like the onion's translucent.
Okay. So you're not doing like a full caramelization. Just soften them up a little bit then. Huh?
Yeah.
Okay.
And then typically I like to use Thai basil because Thai basil has way more of a distinct smell, and it's more about the aromatics with pho. Because you want to be able to smell all of what you're tasting. So couldn't find any of that. So it was regular basil, which is fine. It still turned out really good. I chop up a little bit of jalapeno. By a little bit, I mean like maybe in the actual broth when it's cooking. I cut maybe a third of a jalapeno into discs and toss it in. And then I also quarter a lime and put half of the lime in the broth.
And that's when you're cooking down the broth then.
Yep.
Okay.
And then there's parsley, which I accidentally put a lot in it, which still tasted good.
Yeah. I mean, yeah.
And then there's a little bit of cumin, a little bit of bay leaves, and what else did I put in it? There's something else. I'm trying to think.
Either way, we can maybe even write it down and add it into the show notes. And
Right.
if someone wants to actually use the same recipe, then we'll have it available. We can write it down.
And
then-
sriracha always helps it.
And you put that in when you're cooking the broth then?
Yeah.
Okay.
So that's just the broth.
Yeah. And then how long? So I saw you that you brought it to a boil.
Yep.
How long do you boil it for?
Until you can really smell all the smells working together.
So when it starts smelling like pho, huh?
Yeah.
Which that was definitely the case because I think I was getting some stuff together and yeah, you could definitely tell that it definitely went from getting butter all on my fingers. It definitely went from it no longer smelled like stock and it started smelling like actual pho. Yep. All right, and then what else we got in here now? So then you cooked up some rice noodles.
Rice noodles, yep. You can do, the thicker rice noodles or like a ramen.
Yeah, because these are almost like almost cut like a fettuccine or not
Fettuccine,
Fettuccine.
yeah.
Yep. Thank you.
Yeah.
All right.
And then sprouts. Sprouts are always needed. That's
Yep. And then, so like when you do the noodles, they're cooked separately. They're not cooked in the broth.
correct. Yeah, you don't want to cook it in the broth. Because with rice noodles, you always run the risk of overcooking them. So you bring those to a boil, and you want to keep checking them. As soon as they get tender, you want to pull them off the heat, strain them, and instantly douse them with cold water. Just stop the cooking process.
Oh, okay. Yeah, okay. Now, is that too to like pull some of the starch away from it too, so it doesn't stick?
No, it's to stop the cooking.
Just stops the cooking.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So you got your cooked noodles then that you've.
As
strained
you're
and-
like poking through,
Yeah.
trying to figure out exactly everything that I've put in there.
Pretty much, yeah.
Well, and then limes. I cut up limes again, and everybody gets a half a lime.
Yep.
Some fresh jalapeno.
Couple of slices of jalapeno in
Yeah,
there.
Yep.
So you take the broth, throw in the noodles.
Actually, I take the noodles.
Actually, hold on. All right. Sorry. Didn't mean to interrupt.
Sure.
All right. So now we're at the point where you put the.
Put everything together.
Put everything
So
together.
The noodles. I start with noodles first,
All right.
and then I put the broth in until the broth completely covers the noodles. Because with pho, you want it's more about the broth. It's not about what else is in there. It's the broth is what. It's like a warm hug. So you take your noodles, put your broth on, and then you start to garnish it after that.
I think I'm getting like those bean sprouts, like stuck in my throat. I think you're trying to kill me.
It's not bean sprout either.
Well, what
I
type of
used clover sprout.
splout?
Clover sprout this time.
All right. So you're saying it's not about the ingredients outside of it; those are just like the additives to it. huh?
Right. It's all about the broth. The broth is what it's at.
Yep.
So after you have the noodles and the broth, you're gonna start to garnish it. I put in the meat last, especially with the venison, because I need to make sure that the venison meat is warm going into it. Because yes, you have hot broth, but the noodles are cold. So you want to have as much in there as possible to be able to warm the noodles.
You know what? It might just be the spice because every time I start eating again, I feel like I had cough. So it's got to be because of the spice in it. Because I didn't even eat any of the sprouts that time.
Too much sriracha.
Yeah, I think so.
You're just going to have to edit to where your coughs aren't super loud then.
I know, right? I'm gonna have to like try to edit them out completely because I'm dying. All right, I'm sorry.
Okay. Can I?
I'm
right.
gonna stop eating so I stop
Okay.
coughing.
Okay. So garnishing.
Yeah. So
Sprouts, lime. Sprouts, lime, jalapeno. Really anything that you can think of that would be a good vegetable in like an Asian type dish. Sometimes you can do like the water chestnuts. Toss some water chestnuts in there. I did some green onion because it looks pretty.
that looks ridiculous sticking out of your bowl.
You look ridiculous.
Yeah. Okay. But yeah, no. So you've got it's rice noodle, sprouts, which you typically use bean sprout, right?
Yes.
But this is clover sprout. So
This is clover sprout because
We've got-
it was on sale.
we got 2 slices of jalapeno and half a lime in here. And then, of course, like you said, we did the venison. Again, it's not being heated or cooked in the broth at all. Which I think typically you would cook No, you still cook the meat separate? All right.
Yeah, I always do. I know when I get takeout, as far as pho goes, they put the meat separate too, so I don't.
Yeah, yeah, because you almost want like all the ingredients that you add into the broth to have their own unique flavor to it, or their own accent to the dish.
Right.
Like you were saying that you could add in anything. Like honestly, I think simpler is better. Like what you have here with
What I said, it's just about the broth.
yeah.
I
Yeah.
mean, it. I mean, yeah, adding stuff to it, yeah, it makes it look a little bit more appealing, but
Yeah, like the sprouts give it like a bit of a freshness to it, and then, of course you've got the jalapeno again, fresh jalapeno, so it's got some crisp to it. It's got crunch to it, so you got a little bit of texture. Again, we add the sriracha to give it just a little bit of a kick, because I don't know, it's got to be a little bit spicy. Otherwise, it seems like something's missing then.
right.
And then, yeah, we have the venison, which again, super tender because of the cooking process that went through being canned. And then we've got some bread and butter. And I mean, aside from the work of canning the meat and making the stock, it took what, 10 minutes, 15 minutes to make? Like prepping all the ingredients and everything?
It's closer to a half hour.
30 minutes? Okay. Like I said, I was busy trying to get stuff put together for us to record and but yeah, I mean, it's just that's the one thing that, especially, I don't know, with hunting and whatnot, you're always getting the meat and everything like that. The next part is
What do you do with it?
your dishes with it. Yeah, exactly. And you could have the typical, I mean, don't get me wrong, love backstrap, love tenderloin, cooking up steaks, doing medallions, whatever, however you want to prepare them. But
Tacos.
right? But that's what kind of outside of like that normal though, like just doing steaks.
Right.
Like meat, potatoes, whatever. Where this type of dish is a completely different, style of, or not style, I guess, but theme to the dish, or highlighting it in different areas or different ways. I mean, like you said, you can do enough tacos with it. You could use the burger, or what we've done in the past is, because one of my new favorite dishes, as you know, because I keep bringing it up, is doing venison shanks. Super easy. I mean, same thing. It's like a beef roast or pork roast where you just cook it down. All that connective tissue breaks down. The meat, the long grain, tears apart like a roast. Have that for dinner one night, and then I'm pretty sure we've done it where you've taken the meat from that and
Turn it into like a beef noodle soup of sorts.
yeah, or
It's a venison noodle soup.
or haven't you fried it up before and we've done tacos with it? Yep. Which I don't remember what it's called when you like fry them up and almost like char them up a little bit.
Of course, you're calling me out on that and asking because now you put me on the spot. I can't remember.
Okay. But yeah, fry it up.
Carnitas.
Yes, that's it. Yep.
There we go.
Yeah. So I mean, there's lots of. I mean, and that we're still very novice when it comes to wild game cooking. I mean, there's so many different recipes. I'm sure that even those people listening are like, well, how about this? What about that?
All right. Well, I'm hoping that people will give us ideas. I mean, one of my favorite meals is out of your it's like 5 ingredients or less.
Oh.
Or is it
That
3?
yeah, that was the
ingredients or
Campbell's
less?
cookbook.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, that's basically you take ground venison, make it into like a burger patty, throw it in a glass pan,
Baking dish,
and drown it in tomato soup with a ton of Italian seasoning in it. Put
Jeez.
I don't even remember what type of cheese puts on it.
I think it's mozzarella.
Is it mozzarella?
I think you always did like Colby Jack.
Yeah, I don't remember. It's been so long since I actually made it.
I know, because you don't like it. I like it.
But yeah, you do. I don't think there's even any tomato paste in it. Maybe,
Mm-mm.
but yeah. So the burger, tomato soup, cheese, the Italian seasoning. There's got to be one more thing. It might be tomato paste to thicken it up some,
Maybe.
and then throw it in the oven, bake it until it's cooked through. And I usually we do biscuits with it, and
Mm-hmm.
in a bowl, crumble a biscuit up, throw it all on top, and
Mm-hmm.
yep.
Yep. That was my favorite for a long time.
Yep. We did well after I came home with that dough, we did some venison heart breakfast burritos.
Yeah, because we had all intentions of donating blood, and we just haven't. Things happened, and I forgot about what was it? Oh, wait, the girls' appointments.
Mm.
So I forgot about that. So
Yep.
we had to go. We had to unfortunately cancel.
And we were coordinating between that and my work.
Right, and then because of the snowstorm, you decided to work on the day that we had scheduled the second time around.
Yep. Yep. So yeah, I mean, we were basically gonna rely on venison to make sure our iron levels were up where we needed to be, and we had plenty of vitamins.
Yep. Need to figure out exactly why I always pass out no matter what when I give blood.
You're just a fainter like me.
Yeah.
But yeah, I mean, that's especially having so much of the venison, which I completely forgot to mention that did our first batch of summer sausage.
Oh, yeah, that is so good. You didn't bring that down for a prop.
Nope.
Talk about it.
No.
But it's delicious. Oh my gosh. So good that we had to buy a 4-pound block of cheese this time around.
And three family packs of Townhouse crackers.
Yep.
Hopefully it'll last the week.
Well, it might.
Yeah. 30,
don't know.
30 pounds of summer sausage was not enough.
No.
Because we've eaten what? 1.5 sticks already?
Have we?
Yeah. At least.
Oh.
Yeah. Yep.
All right then.
Yep.
I mean, there's worse things that we could like eat.
Yeah. But yeah, no, I mean that's I think the next step in my progression, especially what you kind of talked about of me wanting to become an all around outdoorsman, is learning how to make, a wide range of dishes with all this wild game. So, I think took a lot of steps this year of doing a lot of things we haven't done before. Because before I've been processing my own deer for years now, but it's usually been burger, because that's the one that we always burn through the most, and then a few steaks, roast, and that's about it.
But the funny thing is, the more that you're processing, the less burger we're actually going through now.
Right. Yeah. Because that's been the big thing is, especially I hate doing the front shoulders still because of all the connective tissue and everything like that. But high then, processing, I'm much better at being able to individually get all the cuts. I mean, we were even doing the meat eater quiz or trivia.
What? Oh, it's sealed.
No, it's probably warming back up, so I think it pushed it out.
Is it?
I just pushed it down.
Oh, you pushed it in.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. Yeah, see?
Okay.
Popping out. But yeah, they're talking about, the one cut, which, again, the problem is there's so many names for the different cuts. They called it, the tri-sirloin?
No, they
Or
just said
sirloin tip.
No, they didn't even say. Did they say tip?
Yeah, because that's why I'm like...
Oh, yeah.
And they were like, it's the shape of a football, which I just call that the sirloin.
Right.
And then you got the sirloin. I thought was the sirloin tip is a little chunk of meat that has a bunch of connective tissue that lays over top, closer to the top of the hip.
Right.
you cut that off before you even get really to the sirloin.
Well, yeah, because you were confused because you were thinking tri-tip.
Yep. Which is, yeah. Yeah.
Do you want an intermission so we can hurry and slurp some food?
No, go ahead. You can. If nothing else, I'll just edit this out, so don't worry about it.
No.
Or I'll just leave it in so you look silly eating with your green onion sticking through it.
With me, you're coughing and my nose is running.
I know, right? We got 45 minutes in. We probably only have 30 minutes of.
I doubt we even have 30 minutes. It's probably like 20.
Yeah. Anyways, but yeah, I mean that's the next part of the progression. I think is coming up with new dishes of how to prepare all this wild game that we got, because we got a full freezer of venison this year. I'm so happy about. It's actually starting to pay off a bit.
Not just venison. There's other things in the freezer that we have to cook.
Well, there's beef in there, but what else?
I think there's a raccoon in there. And there's squirrel.
Yeah. Which we gotta get more squirrels to make it a meal.
I know.
I'm a terrible squirrel hunter.
It was just... I blame it on the weather.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, all the squirrels we saw didn't really give us a chance. And, well, the one I missed.
Yeah.
But that was because the sight was wrong or off on the 22. We fixed that, though.
Yeah, you did.
Yeah, we did. But yeah, I'm actually thinking about one.
You didn't even eat
I know.
anything that time.
I know. I kind of want to still do my idea of like taking like the raccoon, the squirrel, probably takes like some venison, hopefully get like some waterfowl like duck or goose or something like that.
And do like a taste test?
No, I want to do like a roadkill like sauce, like summer sausage, and just do all those different meats put together.
Why call it roadkill summer sausage?
I don't know. It sounds funny.
Ugh.
I don't know. But yeah, that'd be the next thing is like learning those. And then again, we got I'm looking forward. Well, of course, I've been watching fishing for 2 days straight now.
Yep.
So I'm really getting fired up for doing some ice fishing.
Well, I mean, I just get you back from deer hunting.
Yep.
Which you've been checked out since like the end of August with everything like.
Oh, you mean
food
like
plot and.
Well, even that was from since first week of August. Yeah. That's what I planted.
Right. Well, you planted and then we went on vacation. That way you couldn't obsess about it.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, that way I don't freak out when it's not growing right away.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, take a couple weeks away But yeah, no, it's what? When did I go out hunting with Ashley? A couple weeks ago? A week and a half ago? And it was pretty much after that is when I decided that done deer hunting. I still have my one buck tag, but there's been a couple times where I've been itching to go out a little bit. And
well, yeah, because I know that you didn't get me out of the house to go snowshoeing. You had some ulterior motives in that.
It was a dual purpose trip.
Well, it worked.
Yep.
It was I liked it. It just kind of stunk that, I gave a time frame to Kira on when we would be back, and I wanted to make sure that we were back when I told her we were going to be back. But it was, I don't know. Excuse me. I think really the most interesting part of it was the chickadees.
Right. Yeah, when we were walking back, so we passed it the first time, didn't even realize it. I don't even know if the chickadees were there the
I
first
don't
time.
think the chickadees were there at that time.
Yeah. But yeah, we were walking back, cutting back through our tracks again, and we look over just off the 2-track. What, half a dozen, 10 or so chickadees were dive bombing in this little hole just on the other side of the snowbank, and
I thought they were just playing.
yeah,
No, they're going after something.
yeah. No,
Which-
something definitely had their attention,
Right.
and you want to go over there and look at it? Yeah.
Yeah.
And yeah, sure enough, walk over and look like a couple of pieces of something dead. So reached down at what they're diving at and pulled up out of the snow, and it was spinal column and rib cage of what looked like a processed deer. So, and then immediately the chickadees just started dive bombing that carcass and
Yep. You had one land on.
land and hanging out on the barrel of the gun.
Yeah.
I'm standing there.
Yep.
Yeah, they didn't care, and they were eating all the fat and sinew off of it, and yep. Hopefully they got their fill before some other scavengers got onto it.
They probably did.
Oh yeah. But yeah, so that was a fun little adventure, and the other thing I noticed too was, which I talked to my dad about, is like, 'cause how many times were we crossing deer tracks and whatnot, and it was what, 2 or 3 times. We saw the ones right by the pines when we first started.
Right. 3 at minimum, I would say.
Yeah. But the funny thing was, it was like almost predictably where those tracks would be. Like where the pines were on the other side of the 2-track. You know, classic, like, oh, there's probably going to be deer that cross through here because of the thick cover. And then as we get further, where the terrain is, where there's like some of the saplings and whatnot, sure enough, more deer tracks. It was everywhere the terrain said that there should be deer or deer using that area. They were there.
Right.
So, and it kind of made me laugh to myself that they're so predictable of where they're going to be, and yet still so difficult to hunt.
Right.
So, that was kind of this little thing I thought about when we were out on our walk, but yeah, I mean, I think we should probably wrap this up because we still have yet to finish our dinner, and it's probably going to be getting cold.
That's it? That's all you want to talk about?
We're almost at an hour.
Well, we probably only have like a half hour. Well, I mean, if we have a half hour, that's fine.
Well, I still got to do my intro and my outro.
You don't do conservation news desk anymore?
I haven't in a while. But I don't know.
Nothing interesting.
No, I'll probably do it again this summer when there's not as much to talk about. Dog days of summer. Don't be laughing at me and my noodles. But yeah, no, I think we covered what I was hoping to cover tonight with at least an intro to it. We can certainly
Meat processing and different things you can do and making pho.
making pho, which is fantastic with venison bone broth and venison.
I was scared at first,
Yep.
thinking that it wasn't going to come together, because there's been times where, I've been wanting to put together a really quick pho, and I get the pre-made pho broth,
Yeah.
but I pulled it off.
But even the girls said this is the best they've had yet,
Right, which,
and they're tough critics.
yeah, they are. No, I think the next time that they get their braces tightened or whatever adjusted, the canned venison might have to be the go-to.
Okay. I mean, that's why we did it.
Right. Well, Kira said that it's super tender and it the best meat that has been in the pho.
Yeah, and what all did I? What cuts was it all from? It was sirloin. I know that. I think I threw in some top round and bottom round because I was slicing up the I don't know which one it was, either the top or the bottom. I was slicing it up to make jerky.
You were gonna make jerky?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I had it sliced out, but
Oh.
then I noticed that it looked like I didn't have enough for the canning, so I chopped it up a little bit in smaller cubes and
Well, I'm glad you did that instead because I'm not a giant jerky fan.
yeah. But then I didn't even really have the seasoning for it or anything like that either, so it would have been another trip to the store to get what we needed. But yeah, I mean, it wasn't even really like, it wasn't like I don't know. I don't know if it was even the right cuts to be using, but it worked and it cooked down, and none of the pieces were tough that I ran into yet.
No.
So all of them became super tender, and yeah. Yeah, I think that's it.
Yeah,
I got nothing else.
Yeah, I think we ran out of stuff. I keep staring at my pho.
I know, right? That's all we can think about is our food right now.
Yeah.
So
Food and then night night. Or was there something else that we had planned for this afternoon?
for tonight,
Yeah.
I thought it was worth.
Okay, good. Because I don't have anything planned other than sleeping after eating this.
Yeah. All right. Well,
I guess thanks for having me on again.
well,
I was nicer to you this time.
yeah.
I wasn't. Well, and I mean, especially since this is recorded, I can't give you like the "Are you kidding me?" look
Mm-hmm.
because people will see my "Are you kidding me?" look.
Yep. When I get the eyebrow.
Yeah.
Yep.
Yep.
All right.
So yeah.
Well, very good dinner.
Thank you.
So we're gonna wrap this up so we can actually enjoy it. And yeah, I mean, I'm sure we'll have to have more conversations of when we come up with another fantastic meal with Wildgame.
Yeah, I really I can't wait for ice fishing. I really can't. I mean, it's not that I want to get rid of you again. It's
Having some fresh fish again would be nice, wouldn't it?
yes. Yep.
Yep. And
Just like
the girls are on board with it, so they're excited for it.
do up some like boneless.
Are we going to do the pike or the bang bang pike
Yeah.
instead of doing a bang bang shrimp or like a volcano shrimp or however they want to call it?
Yeah.
We're gonna bread up some pike nuggets and hopefully it turns out.
It should.
Yeah, yeah. That'll be like, I think probably one of the first things we do with it.
Yeah.
Just give that a try.
I don't know. I think the next time that you have me on should be when you make me eat something other than venison and fish. Like the weird wild game.
Weird wild game.
Yeah.
All right.
Because you
Well,
still haven't convinced me on eating the squirrel or raccoon or any of that yet. So,
all right. Well, that means I have to go out squirrel hunting more then, so I can get more of them, so we can actually have a meal. See ya.
I mean, what do I always say to you? Every single time that you bring up that you want to go hunt for something or go scout,
All right.
it's just
All right.
bye.
See you later. Yep. But yeah. Nope. I think well, let's go back. So when I was not nearly as successful of a hunter, you would question if I'm even hunting because I'd always come home empty handed.
It wasn't really that. A lot of that was me. Just young and very insecure with myself.
And couldn't believe that your husband was actually going out in the woods.
Yeah,
for
wanted to
hours on end.
wanted to leave me to go sit in the woods by himself, and now I'm just like, okay, bye.
But I mean, it helps that actually bringing home some food.
Right.
I mean, that was the biggest thing about like with the fishing. I mean, even Garrett got after me about having her throw a fish back.
Yeah.
She was
not.
she was not happy the fact that we were not gonna eat that largemouth bass.
She did not let you forget that for at least a week,
Mm-hmm.
if not longer.
Nope. Yep. She is definitely on board with if we catch it, we're eating it.
Right. Which, that's good.
Yep. Yep.
Just can't have. Well, no, she did agree that she is gonna try to.
She wants to
Deer
go
hunt.
deer hunting next year, so we're gonna start practicing with their rifle and.
Let's just see if she can shoot something that she says has a cute face.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
I am not gonna put stock in it,
Well-
unfortunately.
I think she will give it a shot. We'll see how she does after if she shoots her, or if or when she shoots her first deer, how she handles it. Because
If she doesn't handle it well, then it's good luck, Kim. I'm out.
yeah, but yeah, I don't know. We'll see how she does. Because I mean, it is a whirlwind of emotions when you kill a deer, and especially for your first one.
That's why I don't think I could do it.
Mm-hmm.
Everyone questions why I have a bow and why I like to shoot my bow, but yet I don't like to shoot my bow at animals. It's just I like to shoot my bow to shoot my bow.
Yeah.
The 3D, archery targets, that's fun.
Yeah, and it's so great too. I mean, I don't know. I'm a firm believer that you need to have some form of discipline, and archery is a great discipline to have because it's kind of like when we tried golf. Like you can't golf when you're worked up or frustrated. Like it only makes it worse. Same thing with archery. If you start overthinking it, if you start trying to force it, you're gonna do worse.
Yep.
So it's you gotta focus on the process, all your steps, and you have to be repetitive with it.
Yep. Just like how I would always exhale as I was letting go.
Yeah. Probably one of the hardest things to do is get the anchor point consistent, and yeah, that's usually it. Probably
The anchor. I know that for me.
find that anchor point and doing it. Finding that
Consistently.
same anchor point every time.
Yeah.
Because even I've told you that, and I've told Ashley, there's not necessarily a perfect technique or a perfect placement. It's whatever you're comfortable with shooting, and then you can replicate it.
Yep. Consistency.
Yep. But that's a far topic from what we were just the whole
I know.
reason we got on this. But that's the great thing about doing podcasts. You can talk about whatever you want.
Right?
But again, let's wrap this up so we can eat.
Yeah. I agree.
All right, that's a wrap.
Okay.
High five. Good job.
All right, that's a wrap on the conversation with Kim. So, yeah, I mean, hopefully you enjoyed the episode. And, again, I still need to get Kim to jot down the recipe exactly how she did it and put it down in the description. So if you're interested in making some venison pho, you can look that up again, or again, just follow whatever recipe you have for pho, and you can, make it your own. But again, that's it for, the conversation. Going forward, again, the big thing is I'm just itching to be able to go ice fishing, especially my kids are as well. They want to get out on the ice. They actually want to do some ice skating as well. So we'll probably do a combo ice fishing / ice skating trip as soon as we get some good ice, and it's thick enough where we feel comfortable taking the kids out on it as well. So Other than that, I'm not gonna make this outro very long. So as always, get out there, be safe, and have fun.